Hi, and welcome back to today's loose watercolor floral, which is going to be a wet on wet hydrangea. Hydrangeas are very popular both as cut flowers and plants for your garden. They have large flower heads that look like pom-poms. They come in a variety of different colors and shapes. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to use a purpley pink. I'm using my professional Winsor & Newton tube paints. I will show you that palette. It's going to be beautiful, pretty simple, and fun. Thanks for joining in with me today, and if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. I appreciate it. It will help this channel grow and help me bring much more beautiful and fun arts and crafts and painting tutorials. All right, let's get started. Hello and good afternoon, and thanks for joining in with this wet on wet technique, watercolor. This is the inspiration piece that I worked up. I'll have a visual on the left. I'll be painting on the right, so that should be nice and helpful for you. As you can see, beautiful hydrangeas. I'll be doing a version of this. Not probably exactly the same, but the same colors, the same techniques. I'll go over my supplies that I'm using. I will be using a piece of white 100% cotton Arches brand watercolor paper. It's the cold press, so it has a little bit of a rougher texture. Okay, that's what I'm using. You use the paper, watercolor paper of your choice. And I'm using my professional Winsor & Newton brand paints. I have them all here squeezed into a resealable ice cube tray. I love that technique. I've had them in there for, gosh, a little over 2 years. They've been storing perfectly. Water cups, paper towels, assortment of round brushes, my enameled metal mixing palette. This is what I'm going to be using for my dotting of the center of the petals. You can use jelly rolls. You can use, you can see there's some white gouache here. You can use that. And I've already started mixing some colors here. And I will show you that color palette. I have, let me get it in the frame here, Opera Rose, Winsor Blue. I mix these two together to get this purple, Winsor Yellow, Sap Green, and then this is a mix between Sap Green, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of the Opera Rose. Now, whatever color you have chosen for watercolors, that'll be great. I'm doing the purpley pink version for mine. That's the color palette. All right, let's get started. Got your papers ready, your paints ready, your water cups, your paper towels. Get that all ready, and then we can get started. Here's another idea for you, blue. I know about some of the growing conditions when they're growing hydrangeas. If they have an alkaline, you're going to get a more pinky, purpley alkaline soil will provide that. Now, if you have an acidic soil, you'll get more towards the bluey purples, but this is a little more blue towards white. I'm familiar with the cut flowers. We get a lot of the white and blue shades when I do the floral merchandising inside of Costco. Just thought I'd point that out to you. So if you want to pause your video and take a good look at this, maybe you might like to do the blue version. But I'm going to do the purpley pink. Just thought I'd give you some options. To get started, I'm going to use this size 12 silver black velvet watercolor brush. I'm just going to get a nice coating of water here, clear water, just kind of swirl it, make a fluffy little circle of water. I think I'm just going to do one fluffy blossom here. Don't want to get too carried away, just want to keep this simple and light and loose as usual. Now I'm going to start dotting in, as you can see, dot, 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 swirl a lightness here of that Opera Rose. or whatever shade of bright pink you might have. That's kind of what it is a bright pink, and just kind of like get that in there. Save your whites, and then as it dries, you'll carve out some petals, put the dot of the white in the center of the petals, and then that'll be really pretty. I'm going to actually start mixing in some of that purple. As you can see, that really pretty with the wet on wet, just diffusing and blending and flaring. Okay. Look at that. Just bring it down. Bring it up. Okay, save some room for some leaves and stems. I might actually start adding a little bit of yellow here, indicating where I'm going to put some nice broad leaves. Maybe one down here. And these stems coming in through here, very light. Sorry if I got off frame. I was moving. Sorry about that. Get back in here. Dot in some of this green. Just stems coming in. If I'm not talking, just enjoy the painting process. Then as it dries, like I said, you can let it dry and then come back and wash in some more color. And then once you finally let it dry some more, you could start kind of carving in those petals, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Just want to get this established, this shape, as you can see. Maybe I'll go ahead and rouge up this background just with a little bit of color, like I've done in my previous videos. It kind of helps push out that forefront. Okay. That's what I got so far. Kind of wild, but it will form into a really pretty cluster of pinky purple hydrangeas. Just letting those colors bleed and blend and flare. A little bit of that yellow in here. Okay. Maybe a little bit back here. Just kind of intermix your colors. I don't know if anybody here has growing hydrangeas. Love to hear from you. Tell me what color you have in your garden. I dot in more of that pink. You can see how that wet on wet technique, and you can actually brush in a little bit of that color into your leaves. Let's have fun with it. Beautiful summery brightness. The weather's starting to warm up around here. It's going to be 4th of July tomorrow, so that ought to be fun. We'll take a bike ride around the neighborhood. In fact, that's where I got a lot of inspiration for these beautiful hydrangeas. I noticed it in a lot of my neighbors' gardens that they were growing really lovely ones. So I took a little footage of one of my neighbors, and you saw that right before I started this tutorial. They had various colors and shapes. But around here I'm noticing a lot of the pinky, the more towards the pinky with a tiny bit of purple. So they must have a lot of alkaline soils around here. I'm going to let this dry down, and then I'll come back and then we'll start carving out our little 4 clustered petals, our tightly petals. You can be as loose as you want with this, or you can get more detailed. And I have switched over to a size 16 in the Hobby Lobby brand Fine Touch. Still getting this white a little bit damp. Put some color in here. Looking very pretty. Hope you're having fun with my videos. I appreciate you coming back. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you'd like to maybe see, what kind of floral or some sort of subject you think that I would be good at doing. I'd love to try it and bring it to you and demonstrate it. Okay, let's start carving out a little bit with the tip of our brush while it's still damp. Now you might have a different composition going. I'm just kind of winging it, similar to the visual on the side, on the left-hand side. No two are ever alike, especially when you're hand making something. Similar but not exact. That's what art is all about, especially handmade. All special in their own right. It's just a very loose and light technique, something for fun and relaxation. As you can see, it's starting to form the petals. Get a little more close up if you like. Okay, I'm going to grab some of that pink. Just finding where they would be. Back out again. See the full composition. Just keeping mixing my blues with my pinks. Not using too many different colors. But if you already have a purple paint that you like, you can just use that, or you can mix your own. Just kind of keep this simple. Starting to form that pom-pom shape, that moppy little, moppy, not little, moppy, fluffy, large cluster. All right, it's coming along here. The more you work it a little bit at a time, it starts forming what you're looking for. Okay. Come in here while it's still damp. Like I said, start light. I've said it before. Work your lightest up to your darker shades. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to add some more green to these leaves up here. Pulling it down with the belly of the brush. Put some of that sap green mixed with a little bit of the blue and yellow. Kind of varies your shades of green, which is always nice in nature. You could always add a little bit of the pink to the green. It makes it a little more earthy toned. Come up here like I'm doing here, a little bit like that. Okay. And I will be going into a time lapse, which will show you me finishing up a different hydrangea, but it's the same, different hydrangea composition, but it's the same technique as I'm doing here. Just wanted to get you started. I'll show you that in a second, but I want to work on this just a little bit longer. Just wanted to show you the one that I will show you that I'm finishing up in the time lapse. This has gone through some drying processes, then re-wetting, and then finding these little dots in the center, which I'm using the Sharpie water-based white paint pen. Just come in here. Find it. Where I think the center is going to be. Okay. And I will finish this one a little bit later, but the process is all the same, like I said. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions on techniques, I'd love to hear from you. And enjoy the next step, which is going to be a time lapse and finishing a beautiful wet on wet process. Beautiful hydrangeas in your garden, or if you bought them in the flower shop. All right, thank you once again for joining, and see you soon. Have a great day.